Welcome, fans, to episode 104 of Rangers Ed, presented by Lucarelli Law. If you're in Florida and need a lawyer, call Lucarelli Law and tell them the boys at Rangers Ed sent you. This is your host, Cousin Ed. I'm here with my co-hosts, Little Ed. What's up, bud?
How we doing, fellas? Excited to be back after our quick but long trip in Toronto, north of the wall.
Yeah, a little hiatus. We got
Yeah,
Coach Ed. What's up, Coach, with his Gordie Howe bobblehead and poster he won at the silent auction?
A little discovery I just told Eddie about. If you look at this closely, can you see that? It's autographed.
You know, I was going to say, I think I said
wasn't aware of.
I think I said it at the auction, like the price you paid for that. I think I said to Eddie, like, why was that so expensive? It's a poster and a bobblehead. So now it makes sense. If it's autographs, yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah, that's great.
I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until I just unwrapped the picture and put it up.
So you're saying you bid on it. You bid on it at the number you did without knowing it was autographed.
I gotta say, I admit that. Yes,
I admit.
Hey, Gordie Howe. This jersey that he's wearing with the number 9 is the jersey I wore at Fordham, only without the Red Wings emblem. But we had the exact jerseys, and I was number 9.
That's awesome. That's a good story. If you
listeners out there, I have to find that jersey up in the attic somewhere.
Jersey profile coming up in the future.
Listeners out there, head on over to YouTube and check out the size of the picture that's behind Coach Ed. And picture the three of us, well, actually Cousin Ed, walking back from the Hall of Fame in suit and ties in the freezing cold back to the hotel.
Yeah, well,
what's the measurement on that? Did it say anywhere? Did you actually measure it?
I mean, I'm going to say it's about 30 by 40. So I'm going to go with 30 by 40.
I'll definitely be including that video into our YouTube vlog that I'm working on.
And I think it's real glass. It's heavy.
It came out.
It can't be real glass. It would have been so much heavier. No, you think so?
I mean, it's pretty heavy.
We came out on the red carpet. I'm holding this big box. Or you were holding it. One of us was. And we're like dragging it down the carpet.
Oh man. It was in a box, so it was not damaged. Yeah.
People were like filming. I'm like, hey, you want an autograph? Like, why are you filming me?
That was a ton of fun. So yeah, my YouTube vlog should be coming out not soon, but hopefully in a couple weeks, and it's going to recap our entire trip in photos and videos and everything, and I think it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Well, we got a video mailbag from one of our biggest fans over in England, right?
Yep. Birmingham, England.
Over in England, Gaza. So yes. Yeah, let's do it.
Guys, 1877 here from Birmingham, England, once again. Now, you guys went to Toronto to watch Henrik Lundqvist get inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And of course, my first question is, who is the next Ranger to get into the Hockey Hall of Fame? Past or present, of course. My second question is another jersey conundrum I'm having. So I've got this lovely 1990s Eastern Conference jersey used in the 1994 NHL All-Star Game, of course, at MSG, of all places. And the Eastern Conference one with Captain Mark Messier as the captain of the Eastern All-Stars team. And, of course, Adam Graves was there, and Brian Leach, and Mike Richter, of course. But who are the 4 players I've just mentioned should I get on the back of this jersey? So I'll need to send this to Oscar at some point. And, of course, screw the Devils, let's go Rangers. The Devils suck.
Oh God, I have a lot of questions.
God,
it's incredible that he has that much passion for the Rangers in England.
I just have a question for Gaza.
I love
How many pairs of shoes do you have in the background, dude? That's crazy. I didn't
even notice.
Sneaker collection. I guess I'll start. I mean, first of all, I'll start with the All-Star question, the jersey. So this was my point. Gaza just helped me make it. The All-Star game is stupid. It used to be good. There were 4 Rangers in the All-Star game in 94. That would never happen now the way it's designed. So imagine an All-Star game in 94 with only Messier and Leach without Richter and Graves or something like that. That's what we got now. But anyway, I would pick Richter. I think Richter was the MVP of that game, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was.
So I would pick Richter. He's got that big save in the All-Star game. I think that would be a cool jersey. And I think Richter's
I think also Richter jersey would be cool.
I think Richter's also the answer to the other question, because we were talking about this. Is Richter gonna get into the Hall of Fame? We talked about it maybe 20 times. We were in Toronto debating it, looking at his numbers. He's on the cusp, and get a guy
comparing
like
him to Vernon and Barrasso, right?
Yeah, a guy like Barrasso gets in. I think that might open the door to Richter getting in. But if not Richter, I don't know. Little Ed, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I was thinking about it today because I got Gaz's video a lot sooner than you guys did. So I was going to say Richter, but I figured you were going to say that. I mean, to go with somebody else, I'm going to go with Kreider, especially if the Rangers win the Cup before he retires. I mean, I think I don't know if it's a long shot. I'm not going to say that, but I think it's not out of the question to be at least on the ballot. I mean, you look around all of his stats, right, that have been floating around, comparing him to other quote-unquote elite players around the league, and he's right up there, and he's going to hopefully be an all-time Ranger. So I'll go with him just as like a little sleeper pick, I guess. And then for the jersey, I'm going to go with Richter too. I think that'd be a cool jersey to have, Richter. Almost like a sleeper pick in a way too, because everyone would pick Messi, I think.
Yeah, Mikey?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Eddie and go with the K-Man as far as Hall of Fame goes, and I say Messier, man. Messier, throw a C on the front there and put Messier in the back. Absolutely.
Oscar's got one of those. It is
Coach.
very
nice. What about your Hall of Fame guy, Mike? Did you say?
Kreider? Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Adam Graves. Don't get me wrong. What a great, humble guy and easy to talk to. But any one of those other 3, I would say you could pick, and it's a great pick for an All-Star jersey. But I would go with Richter. I mean, I don't see Graves as like a perennial All-Star. Leach,
right?
Richter,
even after meeting him at the Hall of Fame, you're going to trash him like that?
I just said he's a great person. I mean, I love him. He deserves to have his number retired, but as far as putting him on an All-Star jersey, I would go probably with Richter because he won the MVP.
And
as far as retired guys, I would say Hall of Fame guys. I'm going to say Panarin's probably going to go in before Kreider.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like Kreider he's probably going to get his number up in the rafters for sure, especially if they win a cup at this pace. I mean, he's only 32. You got to figure he could play with the fitness he's in. He's going to be productive for another 4 or 5 years. His game
and his high level of income.
Yeah. His game is morphed into like a Tomas Holmstrom type game, so he can just play forever that way. Just park him in front of the net at 40 years old and let him tip pucks, right? Like, I don't think so he may be productive for a while, and it's possible, but I think it's a long shot Hall of Fame. I think Panarin is a good pick. But, it's hard. Like, who else? I guess Yager. Does he count? He's not a Ranger, really.
No.
Yeah, I
guess.
Yager's got to be in it.
But he goes in the Hall of Fame as a Penguin, I think.
Yeah, do they go in as a particular jersey? Like in, don't they do that in football?
Yeah, they go in with a jersey.
Yeah, I mean, Yager's like Rangers jersey on. I'm looking at his plaque behind me.
Yeah, they go in with a jersey like that.
I mean, Yager should just wear an NHL jersey.
Dallas Stars. Yager goes in.
He won all of his cups with the Penguins.
With
I think.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Plus, he's a big international star too, so he's going to be in that Hall of Fame, if not already.
I have a better question for you guys. I think I discussed this with Eddie on the ride home. I was watching NHL Network, their top 25 defensemen of all time. and Brad Park is in the top 10 of all time. Why isn't his number in the rafters with Leach? Number 2.
Well, how many
think they're
years
kind
did
of slapped-
he play with the Rangers?
With the Rangers, I think I looked it up. I think he was drafted. They were showing black and white highlights of him. I think it was like 67 or 68. And he played till 75, 76. I mean, he played more years than Messier. I know Messier brought the cup, but
No, Messier played forever with the Rangers. Played like 12 years.
well, he left and came back.
Yeah, remember he played till he was like 44 on the 4th line. He just wouldn't retire. Messier.
Before we move
So, I
on
don't
to
know,
the
it's
mailbag, because this kind of segues us into jersey profiles, what you guys are talking about. I got another fan question.
Oh,
And then
do it.
we go
Sorry
back to
about
Brad
that.
Park. No, it's okay. Can we go back to Brad Park after that?
Yeah, sure.
This also ties into the road trips. Have you guys been to many arenas? And if so, what is your favorite one besides MSG? And for Lauren Carlisi, it's for hers is favorite. Her favorite is Rogers Place, where the Oilers play. I'll go first to give you guys a chance to think. I'm going to go with Nashville. It's a ton of fun to go see a game. And they graciously hosted us for my birthday a couple of years ago and gave us a really cool, like, all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink package, which I can't imagine many arenas do that unless you get like a suite or something like that. So yeah, I think Nashville would be my favorite and most fun place to see. And yeah, we've been to a bunch: Toronto, Chicago, Detroit, Nashville, Tampa, Raleigh. What about you guys? Boston.
Yeah, I was going to say TD Garden. I think I haven't been to many, but if I had to pick out of the ones that I have been to, I would say TD Garden, only because it was a great experience. The Rangers won that game. I'm pretty sure we all went together that time. And it felt like the most like kind of like MSG, like in the middle of the city and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, I've been to not as many as you guys, but I've been to Boston, Philly, obviously the Coliseum, Panthers, Lightning, Stars. So I've been to a bunch, but not nearly as many as you. But I'm going to pick the American Airlines Center in Dallas, particularly because when I went to visit Carl, who was living in Dallas at the time. Where in the world is Carl San Diego? So we planned it where I would come. Fio and I went there, and during the time the Rangers were playing the Stars and the Giants just played the Cowboys. So the Giants beat the Cowboys, and then we went there and the Rangers beat the Stars. And when we were leaving the arena's beautiful, really incredible arena. But when we were leaving, we had a couple of drinks, whatever. We were just chanting, how about them Cowboys in the street and stuff. And it was just like a really fun experience. And everyone there was really nice. They took it well. So I thought, honestly, I think the people were really cool. They were nice and they welcomed us as visiting fans with Ranger jerseys, and the arena was beautiful and it was a great game. So I'll pick Dallas. Good question. I definitely want to see more arenas. And actually, Edmonton is one we really been talking about going on this Western Canada trip for years. We got to do it one year.
Yeah.
So
I think we got to make it a little tradition to do a Rangers Ed road trip at least once a year.
Yeah, that was fun
this year.
We could run it by the ladies.
I don't think I could squeeze another trip in until
That's what I'm saying. We just did the Toronto trip, so we kind of just did one. So now next year we got to do something else and go to an arena instead.
That was my first time at Scotiabank. I haven't been there. I never went there for a Leafs game. So when we went to the Legends game, that was my first time there.
Yeah, Leafs games are fun.
But good question. So anyway, back to Coach Senator. Didn't he? Oh yeah, he didn't answer.
No, I didn't go.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
I think I know who he's going to say. Let's see.
I mean, I like the Toronto experience with the Hall of Fame. The one year we went, we went to. We didn't go to a hockey game when we went to the Blue Jays game. Ed, that was in the summer.
No, we went to
the summer trip. Yeah, because that was when he was on. He had a hockey camp in the summer, right?
No, that was
we went with
we
Marco.
went on the second. We went the second time.
Oh yeah.
The Marco hat trick.
Remember, we went in our
Right.
teens. That was the hockey camp trip. That's when we went to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Niagara Falls. And then we did the second trip in our 20s. That was the one where, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna agree with Eddie. I'm gonna go with Nashville. Just the whole experience.
Oh.
I mean, you could buy beer in the rotunda going into the arena and take it in with you. It's like you just walk around town and you just walk up to the arena. There's no traveling. There's no train. There's no nonsense.
Yeah, it's
and
right in the
hospitality
in the
was
middle
phenomenal.
of the city, right on Broadway, right where all the country bars are and music bars are. It's just a cool atmosphere for sure. I thought you were going to say Chicago because of the national anthem, but
I mean, they all had their thing for sure. The national anthem was definitely an experience, and but country music in between periods, I got to go with Nashville.
Fair enough. All right, segue back into jersey profiles.
So back to Brad Park. He just said, I don't think he played long enough as a Ranger.
Yeah, and I don't know if they wanted to take away from Leach, maybe. Right?
Well, they could add it now. They're not taking away from Leach. They had Graves and Andy Bathgate.
Yeah, I know.
Leach was better than Graves now. So.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
I'm not going to take away from it, but he was a big Ranger in the 70s.
All right. Well, we'll see.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just maybe making arguments. Like I said, they just want to focus on Leach for it. But
yeah, who knows? All right, let's get into our jersey.
Excuse me 1 second. And he is in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame player.
As a Bruin?
Top 10. I don't know if he's in as a Bruin. I didn't look at it that close.
Mike, look that up. All right, let's get into our jersey profile, sponsored by Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey.
Our buddy Oscar, a huge Rangers fan himself, started his company by stitching his own blue shirts. Once he perfected his craft and started to fall in love with his work, the man started to grow. Oscar stitches every jersey with love and dedication to authenticity, which never disappoints. His talent is hard to find in any store out there. Are you like Cousin Ed? You have a lingering jersey curse that every player he gets a jersey of gets traded or injured and hurts the Rangers team? You want to change things up? You want to take an Eric Lindros jersey and make it a vintage Ken Hodge jersey in the late 70s? Got an old jersey collecting dust in your closet? Want to throw your name on the back and add a nice number of one of your favorite players? You can bring it back to life with a brand new kit at Oscar's Pro Stitch. So head on over to Oscar's Instagram at Oscars PSH. That's OSCARS PSH to check out the countless tarps he's already done and to place the order for his next one that possibly can post on Instagram and get ready to wear it to the next Ranger game or any event that you have coming up. Tell them the boys from Rangers Ed sent you and receive a special discount at Oscar's Pro Stitch Hockey. Go get them, Rangers.
All right. Ron Greschner, number 4, played 16 years with the Rangers, drafted 1974, round 2, pick 32. Just shy of 1,000 games played, 981 for Gresh, 179 goals. Coach, 1,226 PIMs. Different era? Or he doesn't – I mean, I never saw him play, but I don't recall him as a guy who gets a lot of penalty minutes.
No, I just think that's a matter of over 16 seasons. What is that average a season? I don't know. He was a defenseman. I don't remember him being dirty or nasty or anything like that. It was probably just a result of back then. It was a lot tougher in front of the net. You were talking about Kreider before. I mean, Graves' back couldn't handle the punishment after so many years. Kreider, I think it'd be a little bit different. I'm going to compare it to Tom Brady playing until he's 45 because you can't touch a quarterback now. If he played against Lawrence Taylor, he wouldn't have played till he's 45. And I'm going to say the same about Kreider. Graves took a beating in front. It was a lot more vicious in front of the net back in the 80s and 90s. So that's probably where he got his penalties.
Yeah, I find it difficult to coach our players now because as a defenseman, I mean, I didn't play that long ago, and I used to get away with a whole lot. Now they can't get away with anything in front of the net.
I mean, The famous thing with Greshner was Bill Chadwick was the commentator, like Joe Micheletti. For those people who don't know who Bill Chadwick was, and he used to call him Young Greshner because when he came up, he was like a very offensive, obviously young player when he came onto the Rangers, and he was not Bobby Orr, but he was like an offensive-minded player. He also had a stint as a forward for a while. He was like a Brendan Smith towards the end of his career. They had him on forward here and there.
Comes out to like 76, 77 minutes a season, which isn't really that much, I don't think. But it's pretty consistent, I guess you could say. I was also looking it up. He was only captain for 1 year of the Rangers.
I couldn't tell you. I guess I'll trust you.
I think so. Unless I was reading a false article. But yeah.
He was probably captain after Maloney.
Yeah.
After Dave Maloney.
Mike, look that up.
I didn't look that. I didn't look into it that deep when I was making the little graphic here, but I did meet him at the 5K a few years ago, and he signed the hat that's behind me. If anyone can see it, maybe I'll feature that one day.
We met him a couple of times at those Ranger things with Knucklehead.
Didn't we see him in the not the subway, but in Penn Station one time too? I think so.
Yeah, we've seen him he's always around the Garden now.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up.
And today, wait a minute. Today was the anniversary. They said it on the rock station. Today was the anniversary of him getting married to Carol Alt by coincidence. I just thought of it.
So I just looked it up. Greshner, 86-87 was the captain. And then in 87-88, he was co-captain with Kelly Kissio. So you want to talk about Little Ed freaking out. He's on mute over there freaking out. Thank God. But Coach, before Greshner, it was Barry Beck who was the captain for like 5 years.
That would drive me nuts.
Co-captain.
Imagine it was like Trouba. Imagine it was like Trouba and Panarin co-captains right now.
It would be Trouba and Kreider, right? Probably.
Whatever. I was just trying to make it a little bit more.
I don't have a problem with that. I was co-captain. I was co-captain on Fordham. Defensive captain and offensive.
The first American captain of any kind the Rangers had was Brian Leach in 92-93. He was made an assistant captain. Before that, it was all Canadian. I guess that's what it was the whole league, probably. But anyway,
there wasn't many. Yeah, it wasn't many Americans.
All right. Prior to the last episode, which was we're going to say before the induction episode, the Rangers were 8-2-1. Since then, they're 4-1-0, 12-3-1, 25 points. First in the Metro, tied for third in the NHL. I mean, we started out going back a while, November 7th. A 5-3 win against Detroit, a 2-1 win. A 4-1 win against Minnesota, a 4-3 win in a shootout against Columbus, a 5-3 win on the road in New Jersey, and then a 6-3 loss last night against Dallas. Let's start with Artemi Panarin, whose 15-game point streak was broken last night against Dallas on the road. So I hope you didn't put a player prop on him, Little Ed.
I did.
You did. All right. Well, you finally lost the player prop on Panarin. Easy money for 15 games.
Did you guys? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say the question I have is this too early in the season to say like, hey, he's in the Hart Trophy conversation? You know, I mean, it's only 16 games. Mike. What?
I think we got to ask Mikey because is it a small or a big enough sample size yet?
Mikey sample size.
Mikey sample size.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
That he's in the conversation, or that it's too small a sample size?
Both. No, the sample size is enough, and he is. He definitely should be in the conversation, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, with how hot he is, Little Ed, he's 8th in the league in points now. He was 2nd like 2 days ago, but all these guys played a bunch of games more. He has games in hand.
It's a very tight race for sure. And you got to think that some of those guys are going to drop off. And I think at least during the regular season, I'll say, Panarin's a very consistent player, so I don't foresee him dropping off really. Some of the other players in that list usually go a little cold here and there, I think.
Quinn Hughes leads the league in points with 30. By the way, that's insane.
Yeah, he's something else, man. Real quick, he had an interview. I was watching the game one night. I think we got home late from practice or roller hockey or something. I was watching their game, and he had an interview, and they asked him, like, how come all of a sudden you guys are just clicking? Like, what happened with you and Pettersson that all of a sudden you're leading the league in points, blah, blah. He goes, sometimes it just takes you a little bit to figure out the league and for something to click, like for you, and you learn things here and there, and all of a sudden you work out the right way in the off season, and all of a sudden you just have the confidence and it clicks. So I just thought that was interesting, especially because there's a lot of obviously scrutiny going around about Kakko and Lafreniere. I mean, obviously Laffy's doing a lot better, but there's still time for it to click for all these young players. So I just wanted to, since you brought up Quinn Hughes, I thought that was interesting.
Let me ask you a question. You're changing him. Who's the one who picked Quinn Hughes? EJ? As the defenseman?
I don't have a problem with Quinn Hughes. I had a problem with
didn't someone pick him at
we had a problem with McAvoy. I think Weeks picked Quinn Hughes and McAvoy, and then
something like that.
EJ picked McAvoy and Carlson.
I think flip it.
Or flip
Weeks
it.
Weeks said Carlson.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I just thought Fox should be the right D with Hughes, not McAvoy or Carlson.
But kudos to them. They both picked him way before he had 30 points and led the league, right? It was a couple of weeks ago.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, he was definitely on the upswing. I mean, they named him captain. I mean, he's definitely a high talent. But, yeah, to be leading the league with 30 points as a defenseman, and he's the fastest player to get to 30 points, not defenseman, fastest player. What is it, like the fastest as a defenseman to be the fastest player to 30 points since Bobby Orr? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the fastest defenseman to get to 30 points.
Well, no, but he was the fastest overall player also as a defenseman. So no other player in the league has 30 points. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So he's a defenseman, but he's the fastest overall player to get 30 points.
Mike, look up his plus minus.
Plus 16.
There you go. That's the difference.
Yeah, I saw something. He and Hronik. We're talking about Quinn Hughes for an hour now. He and Hronik.
It's a hard conversation.
They were only out there for like 2 or 3 goals against at even strength the whole season so far, or something like that. Something crazy.
You mean who?
His partner, Philip Hronik.
Oh, and he said Hronik.
Well, that's how you say it. It's Hronek. I had to say the huff so you knew who I was talking about.
Hronik. Cool Whip.
But I think it's just Hronik. Yeah, Cool Whip. Oh.
I mean,
anyway, so
JT
is he in the conversation?
Sure.
I think he absolutely is in the conversation because he's the most valuable player to the Rangers for sure right now, especially since Igor's been injured and not really himself yet. Since coming back from the injury, he's definitely the most valuable player to the Rangers. And I never really understood what the MVP or the Hart Trophy actually meant, to be honest with you. So right now he's well on his way, but I guess if
it's the best player in the league, pretty much.
I know, but it always goes to I don't know, is McDavid really the most valuable player to the Oilers? I think they'd be fine without him if all of the other players are performing.
You mean you think they'd be 5-11 without him?
Well, this year is a completely different story. That's also why Panarin's even in the conversation, because players like McDavid and now even Jack Hughes was injured. So now Panarin got a head start. McDavid could all of a sudden just go off and still get 130-something points this season. So
he started off slow last year too, McDavid, I think.
Either way, I definitely throw him in the conversation. He's playing unbelievable hockey. I texted you last night, Cousin Ed. They showed the video of him getting the record puck or whatever, and he definitely looks a lot stronger this year. Looks a little bit more cut up in the locker room. So I think he definitely was working out and back in Russia, maybe taking some gas. And I think that's a big reason why he's another player. Valaket mentioned in his pregame that he's not only scoring goals, but he's scoring goals from the dirty areas in the high slot towards the net. he's not just scoring the perimeter goal. So I think it has a lot to do with it. He's not afraid to get into those areas now because he feels a little bit stronger.
Yeah, and he's cut down on his giveaways, only 10 in the 16 games, coach, for Panarin. So, I mean, that's less than one a game, you know.
It's noticeable.
He's on pace for 133 points, 51 goals, 82 assists. It's pretty crazy. So let's say, look, let's see if he can keep that pace. On the flip side, Mika Zibanejad has 1 point at even strength this season. He's courtesy of Statboy Steven, who we met up in Toronto. Follow him on Twitter if you don't follow him. He always posts these interesting stats. So Statboy Steven, Zibanejad is tied with 8 goalies in even strength points this season. God. So that's pretty interesting. And, you know, we talked about this, and Little Ed, I think you said he's a slow starter. So I actually looked it up, and he is a slow starter. There's no question. But Statboy Steven to the rescue on this one. So through 16 games at 5-on-5 in his career, Zibanejad, this is the order starting in 2016-17 to this year. 7 points, 5, 6, 7. Then he had 1 in 2020, 2021, similar to this year. Then 5, and last year 6. This year, 1 point at even strength. I mean, he's got 10 points, 2 goals, 8 assists. That's not good enough already. But when you start to look at his power play points percentage, 60% of his points on the power play, and of course, his shorthanded assists. I mean, at what point are we going to be concerned? I mean, I know he's going to go on a barrage and score 20 goals in 25 games or something. I know that's going to happen. But like 1 even strength point in 16 games, and we're still 12-3-1. I don't know what to do. Am I panicking? Do I just let it go because they're winning? Little Ed, what are your thoughts?
No, I don't think you're panicking at all. I mean, I don't know if we should panic. I mean, I'm sure he's going to bounce out of it at some point. My biggest question is, like, similar to what I just said about Panarin, like, what is Zibby doing in the offseason? You know, like, we never hear about him in the offseason. You never, like,
DJing.
Well, yeah, it's like, at that point, it's like kind of annoying. It's like, if you're going to perform like this, you can't be posting videos in the offseason doing all this nonsense. You know, like, think, Coach, you talked about like Deion Sanders always showboating and stuff, but he brought it to the field. Like, there was no question. Like, with him, it's just like, what are you doing? And we always joke around about Joe Micheletti talking about Chytil and what he's doing in the offseason. Well, you never hear about what Zibby's doing in the offseason other than the DJing thing. So, I mean, that worries me more than anything. It's like, you paid this guy all this money, and is he really even taking hockey as the number one priority?
Well, he just had a kid, too.
Well, that's another thing. But at the same time, like, I don't know.
He might not. I would find it very hard to believe that he's not training in the offseason at all. That's just not a social media thing. So his social media thing is his DJing. That's my opinion. I don't see him. I mean, he's +5 at even strength, and he's not even putting up points. So he's playing a good game brand of hockey. Last night, he was just gripping the stick. He just couldn't catch a pass. He couldn't do anything. I just think he's a little off right now. Maybe it is because of the baby. We were giving Shesterkin a pass because he had the baby last year. So, you know, maybe it does affect him. Well, I don't either, but whatever.
These guys are millionaires. They could afford the care. We joke around about the nannies and stuff. I mean, I understand some parents want to raise their kid and stuff like that, but just take turns. I mean,
some parents want to raise their kids.
Well, I'm saying, like, they don't want to have the overnight nanny. They want to be there for the kid when he's crying or she's crying. You know, like, it's a different situation, and I'm not going to judge them for that. But then you just got to figure it out. On game nights, you don't take the night shift. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It just seems odd to me, and I know it's not a slow start per se, 6 points through 16 games, but like, you're paying this guy $8.5, $9 million.
I
know, but like the past years, but the past years, Statboy Steven said, "Oh, not really a slow start." It is. Like, to me, that is a slow start for a player like him, and even if he's playing that well defensively.
Hold on, Ed. Just clarify. Last year, he had 6 points through 16 games at even strength, so he probably had 12 or 13
More,
or 14 points total. So you wouldn't think of it as a slow start. You'd think of it as point per game. But he's got nothing, and even strength this year. Nothing.
Yeah.
The coach is right, though. His defense has been good. He hasn't, the team.
And he kills penalties.
But if he's going to fulfill my bold prediction as winning the Selke, he's going to have to put up points.
He's also, I mean, I know he's not scoring much on the power play, missing the net a lot, but he is a decoy, and that opens up other things. So, there's a lot of variables. If he's scoring more, then Kreider's not scoring more. So, I don't know. It's tough. On the power play I'm talking about.
Kreider gave him a beautiful backdoor pass. Kreider gave him a beautiful backdoor pass last night on the power play. Like, the play that they drew up all the time. They always do it. And Zibby just was a split second off when he just wasn't there for the pass.
Well, to help Zibby out, Little Ed and I decided that we're gonna bring out our Juju masks for Zibanejad. Are you doing it too?
Yeah, we're introing the Juju mask for a player that needs to be broken out of a slump.
So we're gonna bring out the Juju mask for Mika to get some even strength points. Do a little dance, whatever.
The Ace Ventura dance. What was he doing? Remember that? I don't know over YouTube. Check out our
yours is nicer than mine.
You
got that where in Mexico?
Cancun.
Yeah,
I was gonna say yours is nicer than mine.
Yeah, I got this in Mexico somewhere. I don't remember.
Well, I covered mine in epoxy because not to gross everyone out, I found like little bugs like burrowing in the mask. So I may have brought over a rare species. I may have brought over a rare species of termite. So I trapped them. I trapped them all inside the mask by sealing it with epoxy.
Yeah, but it probably also keeps it nice. You can see all the dirt on mine.
Yeah, well.
So you'll have to tell me how to do that. Anyway.
Okay.
So that's for Mika.
Let's see what happens.
On, dude. Come on, man. I don't know what to say.
He can't. What was the stat you sent me about missing the net, or you sent us about missing the net?
Oh yeah.
He can't even hit the net in the power play. I mean, I understand he's playing well defensively, but he can't even hit the net in the power play.
Zibanejad has 44 shots on goal this year, 2 goals, and 33 shots that have missed the net. So that means he's attempted 77 shots and scored 2 of them. And almost half didn't even hit the net. So he's just, I said this, he's firing it high and wide over and over again. It's really frustrating.
I think they should give Panarin that spot until he figures his shit out.
They did that, didn't they? They put him in the bumper.
And he scored. And
they put Zibby in the bumper, yeah.
Maybe he needs to do like Chytil and change the lie on the stick or something.
All right. All right. And then, dude, Alexi Lafreniere. I mean, wow. What a breakout in these games by Lafreniere. Huge game against Minnesota, goal and 2 assists in the 4-1 win. And then obviously another huge game against Columbus where he had 2 goals, including the game-tying goal with 10 or 11 seconds left, and the game-winning shootout goal on a beautiful backhand. And on top of that, we got to watch that together, minus Mikey. In where were we? Shoeless Joe's in Toronto?
Yeah, Shoeless Joe's.
Yeah. Celebrating with a bunch of Ranger fans. So Laffy, and no points against New Jersey following that, and no points last night, but he just looks so good. I mean, the points are going to keep coming. Like the way, if he plays like he did last night.
Yeah, last night he looked good.
Coach, he looked good, and he's a -3 in that game. Isn't that crazy?
I know, well.
That's why plus minus is tricky. He looked awesome last night.
Well, he looked awesome with the puck and how he was skating, but who knows what he was doing in the defensive zone. Yeah, if the analyze closer in the DN.
Yeah, you'd have to analyze those 3 goals that he was on for. I didn't really take notice that it was his fault.
No.
He's skating phenomenally with the puck with a lot of confidence. I mean, we've been talking about that a lot lately. Or actually, I guess since they've both been drafted, is you could just tell he has a lot more confidence to hold onto the puck for a little bit longer. And he's making some nice moves around these guys in the neutral zone and offensive zone. And he's definitely got the skill, and it's starting to come out. And it really just shows you how much confidence these guys need.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is the speed. I have not seen him have that kind of speed in prior seasons. When he carries the puck, like you're saying, he's moving his feet and he's blowing by defensemen. He has not done that in prior years.
It's more like it's more fluent than it was last year for sure.
Yeah. So they said, in the beginning of the year, the big thing was what you said about Mika. Why are there no videos of Laffy? We always see like Kako, pulling a boulder up a hill, and Chytil in the gym, in his dry fit, like looking ripped. And Shesterkin pushing a car. We see all these videos and stuff in the offseason. I don't see anything about Laffy. But when he was asked about it, he said, I worked on my skating. So I think he whatever he did really helped him and helped his development because he looks much different. And I'm no longer worried about it.
He doesn't shy away from hits. He throws the nice hits on the forecheck and things like that. So I guess he's not too worried about his strength. And if they must have told him he needed to work on his skating and he listened, then it shows.
Yeah, we got to find out who keeps track of this hit stat. They have Laffy at 5 hits for the season. He's got way more than 5 hits.
He throws 5 hits a game. Like no problem.
I don't know. How does he have 5 hits for the season?
They don't count. They don't count like the little finishing of the checks and stuff. I don't know. That's very strange. Maybe Statboy knows the answer to that.
Yeah, we'll have to bring Statboy on and ask him. He'll know. All right. So let's update on the injuries. Adam Fox skating in practice in a non-contact jersey. Did you guys see the video of him skating?
No, I did not actually. How do you look?
He looked good. I think I sent you guys a tweet. Mercogliano from USA Today posted a video of him skating from the Rangers practice, and he looked really good. So I think he'll probably be back at the earliest time based on that if he doesn't re-injure it. So, I mean, that's good news. But, just replacing Adam Fox, the Rangers just keep winning. I mean, what's their record in the games without Fox? Like 5-1 or something? 5-1-1? I never thought that would be the case. So, just
not
thinking about
they won without him and Shesterkin and Quick.
And Chytil.
And Chytil. Oh, well.
Forgot Chytil, coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but
I didn't forget him. I just didn't include him.
With Fox, like Gustafsson is taking over on the power play, right? And he's running it pretty decently, I guess. They just kind of had to change it up because he's a lefty, but I don't know, man. Like, he's such a different level of a player. And to think that the Rangers could possibly be something like 15-4 or 15-5 or something, and then adding Adam Fox back to the team, I never thought that would happen. When he went down, I thought, let's just go 500 while he's out. Just stay afloat. So, Coach, I don't know. You love Gustafsson. If you want to talk about replacing Adam Fox, if that's even possible.
Well, I'm not saying it's replacing him, but he's doing like you said, an adequate job. He moves the puck real well. You get to watch him more because he's on the first pair now. And I saw a little article or some blurb on the internet saying that he's going to price himself out of New York now because he's playing so well. But yeah, I mean, he's got points, he's got goals, he's doing well. There's not really a big blemish without Fox back there right now.
Yeah, he's 4th on the team in points, little Ed. 12 points for Gustafsson.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way he plays. I had a few chances to see him play live too, so seeing him play at the Garden is like you could just tell he's a very good player. And I got to give a lot of credit to Laviolette. I mean, he had his guy, he knew who he wanted, and he told the Rangers to bring him over. And I guess he knew exactly what the situation. Not obviously he didn't know Fox was going to get hurt, but he knows what type of player Gustafsson is, and there's no panic. I mean, I think that shows whether it's the leadership on the team or maybe it's Laviolette, the way he's having them play. But Coach Ed and I had to coach a game this past weekend against New Haven, and we had a lot of players go down on injury in the past couple of weeks. So we had to mix up the lineup a little bit. But the big thing I said in the locker room is, like, if you guys all do your job and play the right way, it really doesn't matter what line combinations we have, because if everyone's doing their job, then it doesn't really matter who you're playing with necessarily. And I think that shows with the Rangers as well. Whereas the system that Laviolette has them playing in, everyone's able to just perform and do their job, and everyone kind of knows where everyone's going to be anyway if you're following the right system.
Yeah. No, I think that's true.
And that kind of goes for the power play too. I'm not comparing Gustafsson to Fox skill level, but if everyone else is doing what they're supposed to do, all you really need is a good passer in that spot, and Gustafsson is adequate compared to Fox, obviously, but he does fine there. So you got to give a lot of credit to the players surrounding him as well.
For sure. I think Coach Ed is right, though. I think he's priced himself out if he keeps this up.
Yeah, that's
last
unfortunate.
year, 40 points in Washington. If he gets anywhere close to that here again, and he's on pace for like 60 right now. So even if he slows down, he'll hit around 40. I think he's probably going to get a better deal with the cap going up. But you got to think it's a smart move by him, right? So he's a free agent. He's not getting offers. So he says, you know what? Let me go to the coach that I just scored 40 points with, who's been helping me defensively. Let me play one more year, take a cheap deal with a team that can win, get myself in the spotlight, have a good season, and then the cap will go up and I'll cash in. So I think that's probably his thinking, and I don't blame him for it. And, if they can't keep him, they can't keep him. They'll find a 60 again, but it's a pleasure to watch him. I think he's a good defenseman, and you need different kinds of defensemen. I know, Little Ed, you like all guys that are good at defense. You want 6 like good defensive guys. I don't think he's bad at defense, but he's definitely an offensive defenseman, and I think that's important. You got to have a couple of guys who can move the puck, pass the puck, get points on the board from the back end. And he's one of those guys.
I don't think he's a liability defensively. I think he does well.
I think he does well defensively too, and his first passes out of the D zone are very good.
I don't know if he does well defensively. I see a lot of times at the point he makes like a wild pass. Like he has a lot of bad turnovers where he just makes this like brain dead play and it leads to an odd man rush going the other way.
We're talking about in their end though.
Sure. But there's more. Like being a defenseman isn't just about being in the defensive zone. Like you have to control the blue line. Like he needs to.
I consider what you're talking about offensive mistakes.
Sure. I mean, whatever. It's still an offensive mistake, defensive mistake. Doesn't matter. It leads to a goal against or a shot, a chance against. Based on his.
Isn't that what we're talking about?
No, it's not. I don't consider that to be an offensive mistake though, because it leads to a scoring chance against your team. So you're making a play that leads to a scoring chance against your team. So what if the other team has the puck in the offensive zone and you take it away? Is that a defensive play or an offensive play?
I think it's a defensive play because you don't have the puck.
Well, okay. So now it's if you don't have the puck, so the zone doesn't matter. I don't know. Whatever. I just think that he's a little bit of a liability in that he makes some brain dead plays, but I do think it's a little overstated in the analytics world how he's a liability. I don't think he's a liability either. I don't overall. I think he's fine. He's fine defensively. Anyway, we don't need to argue about Gustafsson, but okay. So the other one, Igor back in net. He comes back. He looks a little rusty in these 2 games. I'm not really impressed. Not really impressed with Igor in these 2 games. I mean, he needs to be better, but he did miss a long time. Are we panicking on that?
No, definitely not. I mean, the team's still doing well in front of them. I think the defense and the like I was just saying, the system that they're playing has a lot to do with it.
What was he doing on the 3rd goal last night? I mean, he decided he wasn't going to cover the puck, or he didn't cover it fast enough. I'm not really sure, and Marchman just poked it in. Of course, we lost that review. And then the 4th goal, they score. It wasn't really his fault, but we reviewed that, lost that review. Rangers are 0 for 9 on coaches' challenges this season, either for or against. 0 for 9, according to Valaket.
And 2 for 12 overall. Like referee challenges, I guess, or referee reviews. They're 2 for 12.
We've won 2? We've won 2?
That's what the stat I saw today on a usual pretty reliable like Instagram page.
2
like
for
stats
12.
Page. 2 for 12 overall.
I can't remember the 2 they won. Wow.
That doesn't matter. My point, what I commented on the post was who cares about the 2 that we won or the 10 that we lost? Why are there 12 reviews in 16 games? That's too many. Like, it's getting ridiculous. It slows the entire game down. It's boring as hell watching them, especially if you're at the game. Forget about it. At least on TV, you could do something else. You can watch the commercials, whatever. If you're at the game, you're just watching them make a mistake.
No, if you're home, you just watch the replay for 10 minutes, the same play, and listen to Sam and Joe talk about how it's definitely going to go into Rangers' favor, only to have the referee come out. Only to have the referee come out and go against the Rangers on the call, and then Joe to go, well, I just don't understand that. And then the game continues. That's what you do.
It's crazy. Either way, it's nuts. They have to do something about what's reviewable and what's not, and how much time they're allowed to review it for. There should be some kind of a shot clock for that.
Well, I saw something. So, they had the play. They went from the major to no penalty. It was in one of these games. What game was it?
Don't even get me started.
The major unlingered. Which game was that? Devils?
Was it Dallas?
It wasn't last night. It might have been the Devils.
It wasn't last night. I think it was the Devils.
So it went from a major to no penalties. So I was reading online about it. Apparently, the refs were debating whether it was a 2-minute penalty or not a penalty at all. But they can't review a 2-minute penalty. So the refs smartly called it a major penalty so that they could trigger the review.
So now they're controlling the game.
So that's the refs. That's probably what happened. That's
a factor in the game. That's
ridiculous. No, they didn't. The refs didn't admit that. That was speculation. But that makes sense because they went to no penalty from a major.
But what if the guy would have got the major?
Well,
you're hurting the other team.
No, they weren't trying to hurt the Rangers. They were trying to decide if it was a 2-minute.
What about the other team that he's calling the major on? And they go, oh, it is a major, but they were going to call a minor. I don't know. That's ridiculous. I don't know how they allowed to review major penalties.
You shouldn't be allowed to review major penalties. That should just be called, and that's it.
That's it.
No,
the referee saw what he saw. It's up to the. Then what's the point of even having a referee?
And the offsides thing drives me crazy because they dump the puck in. I'm like, oh, Kreider's offside, and then they're cycling for 3 minutes, and I'm like, if they score, they're going to reverse this call. You're just sitting there, and I can't do it. Anyway, and then finally, Philip Chytil still not skating. The rumor is he had a concussion, and he's been out for I don't even know. He's only played 6 games. Still not even skating yet. So we figured, why not bring on EA the PA to help us out with this? Because honestly, if the hit that Fost made on Chytil is what caused the concussion, I just don't know enough about it to understand. So you guys might be wondering out there how he can get a concussion on such a hit. So why don't we bring on EA the PA to help us out? I haven't seen her in a while anyway.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
All lowercase like your dad.
I didn't have any heads up that I was watching the Great British Bake Off.
Good Lord.
Very educational.
So good. You don't understand.
So anyway, did you get a chance? I'm not going to comment on the Great British Bake Off.
Well, for the new listeners out there, this is another EA member of the family. My sister, cousin Ed's cousin, Mikey Produci's wife, and Coach Ed's daughter. And she is a PA, I guess, registered in New York and now in Florida. So every once in a while, we bring her on to analyze some injuries, and we don't root for her to come on the show, but we're always happy to have her. So there she is, EA the PA.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I've been waiting anxiously.
Say that a little less sarcastically next time.
I really have. I've been on here for like an hour waiting.
Oh, sorry.
You meant talking in the past hour, not in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. We've been bantering about so much stuff. So did you get a chance to see the Chytil injury fast hit on Chytil that would led to his injury?
Yeah, that's why I asked you if they said it was definitely a concussion, because to me, it looked like his neck more than his head.
Well, so the beat reporters are saying it was a concussion. The team has not said anything but upper body injury. And it's funny you say that because back in the day, Sidney Crosby was getting a lot of concussions, and then they were worried that he was out. He was going to be out for like years, but it ended up being a neck injury. So, can you explain that? How maybe a concussion and a neck injury are related, or why you thought it was a neck injury?
Because it didn't look like it didn't look like the two helmets collided to me. It looked like he tensed up, like his shoulders went up and his neck kind of his head kind of turtled in. So to me, that looked like it would be like a muscular injury or even a cervical injury.
So when you say cervical, you mean bone?
Yeah. Did anyone else look at it, or?
Can't you get a concussion from a whiplash type of action?
That's what I was going to say. Whereas, like, isn't concussion just like your brain just rattling? So could that his neck jerking cause that as well instead of just impact?
Yeah, it's just not the fact that he's been out for so long. The odds of it being that bad from not actually colliding is weird. I mean, I know he's had a lot of concussions, so they could just be extra cautious at this point, but like usually, I mean, you could have both, obviously, like we saw it in the football game, one of the football games on Sunday, the two helmets collided and his neck crunched down. So like you can have a traumatic brain injury from that, and then you could get a broken neck from the collision.
So you're saying that it's either, if it's a concussion, that he probably would be back already if it was only a concussion, based on you're questioning why he'd still be out unless they're just being extra cautious.
That, and he could have like post-concussion syndrome. That's when you have symptoms past 10 days from their initial injury. So he could have persisting symptoms, and that's why they're not letting him come back. I don't really know, because it's been it happened the end of October, or?
Yes.
He got hit the same game as Fox, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a pretty long time.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with, like, usually when they're out this long, it's more we wouldn't be questioning it the way that we are, and the media and everyone, all the fans, So if it was like a high impact hit causing him to be out this long, it would be an easier question to answer, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, if they're being extra cautious, I guess you wouldn't really know the answer to this question. Why wouldn't they at least let him skate a little bit? I mean, I guess he could be skating without the team, and they just don't have any videos of him.
No, they said he hasn't skated.
Okay.
They came out and said he hasn't skated.
How much of that's actually true? I feel like the Rangers feed the media a lot of nonsense just to get them to kind of go away, or even the Rangers are trying to, like, I don't know manipulate the media in a way. I feel like we see that a lot, but I guess back to the injury itself. I mean, when you say a neck injury, do you mean like the spine or the spinal cord, or just like the muscles around the neck, or the actual like vertebrae?
Everything. It seems more like muscular to me, though. And you guys have all had like low back pain, low back injuries and stuff. Like, how long that could persist for. So obviously that could come from the vertebrae themselves in the nerves and then the muscles. So you can have all of it, you can have one of it. I feel like it could be that he has both. Like you said, Ed, with a concussion, if you have a coup and a counter coup injury, that's the two like mechanisms of a concussion. So the coup is like an initial impact on the, say you hit the front of your head, that's the coup injury, and then the counter coup is when the brain hits the back of your head when it bounces. So you could technically have like a counter coup from not having direct impact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's what Coach Ed was trying to say before, kind of with the rattling effect. I mean, that's how we were always taught to keep an eye on it as coaches, because I mean, they specifically said it's not always caused by direct impact, and that's like something that's misunderstood, especially by coaches. It's like, oh, you're fine, get out there, like you didn't even hit your head, type thing. So that's something they always stress when we were coaching the younger kids, at least.
This is the tweet. Go ahead, Coach.
If it's a neck muscle, I mean, I obviously have had plenty of back pain in my time. If it's your neck, like by the back of your head, you'd still be able to skate and keep a little active. I feel like with concussion issues, the bright lights affect you, the motion. There's a lot more activities that would affect it, making you dizzy and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean towards
the cervical though. Yeah, but if it's the cervical, that was different. If it's a bone, on a spinal issue.
You would want to keep it as still as possible. I would say they wouldn't want him to do anything.
Right. Yeah, but when I have the back issues and we had practice a couple of weeks ago, when I'm skating, it loosens it up more. When you're inactive, to me, it tightens up.
Yeah, but think about it. If you have a broken
vertebrae.
Yeah, if you
now we're saying his vertebrae's broken.
Maybe
she's saying it could be.
Tweak your neck a little bit, just sleeping on it the wrong way. The next morning is miserable. You can't move your neck right for the next day and a half. But
we also don't have the ability to go to the training facility and get a massage twice a day.
Let me
taken care of.
Let me read the quote. Let me read the quote from Mercogliano's podcast. Chytil does not seem to be any closer to returning to the ice. He was eligible to come off IR and play on Sunday. This is back on November 16. He did not. As of Wednesday, he's still yet to take the ice since sustaining his concussion. You have to be concerned with the history of concussions. One source told me Chytil's had at least 4 concussions in his career, if not more. The more concussions you have, the more likely you are to sustain another. This goes beyond hockey. This is a life concern. This time, it seems like it's been really difficult for him to get back to the point where he's comfortable getting back on the ice. It's not a good situation beyond the hockey stuff. I don't think anybody knows when the next time we're going to see him is. His health is the number one priority right now. So that's pretty dramatic. Like he's saying it's a concussion. Yeah, it's very dramatic. But he's saying that's he's adamant it's a concussion. So the Rangers haven't said that, but he's got a source that is adamant that Chytil's been concussed. He wouldn't make those comments. I mean, he's a pretty reliable beat reporter. But that sounds really 4 or more concussions. I mean, that's Eric Lindros territory, right? That's a lot of concussions at 23 years old. I don't know. Scary stuff, but I just don't understand it. I watched the hit, and then Eddie, you made a good point. The brain moves in the skull, and that can cause a concussion, I guess. But you're right, Aaron. There's no head contact, so I'm like, how does he get concussed on that? If he's concussed on that hit, then he can't play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's too dangerous for him.
Imagine if he gets laid out by someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's too dangerous of a game for him then if he's getting concussed from that. I think. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
just from his health perspective, Yeah.
Well, plus everybody's different.
How does that work with multiple concussions? Makes it more likely you get one in the future. Is that true?
So that is true. I couldn't find any. I was looking it up before because I've known that that's a fact, but there's no evidence as to why. I guess because your brain is technically damaged. So the more it's not healthy brain tissue anymore. So I feel like when it happens again, it's gonna affect you worse. The other thing is if you return too early, I feel like you're more likely to get injured, like any injury.
Does the brain tissue heal?
yeah, it rebuilds itself, but that's why people get CTE, because the brain is restructuring itself over and over, and it's like scar tissue, so it can't function the same. It doesn't function like your healthy, normal brain tissue anymore. And then there's like buildup of it's like these proteins, and then it builds up near the vessels basically, and it's kind of how like strokes are, like ischemic strokes when there's a blood clot in the brain and then all that tissue in the area dies. It's the same idea. So that's why people get like the behavior change, they get memory loss. A lot of people end up killing themselves because they're so depressed.
For those that don't know what CTE is that are listening, can you explain what that is, just generally?
It stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So it's from repeated head injuries. It's mostly studied in boxing, football, hockey, all contact sports pretty much. They talk about soccer, which is interesting to me. It's like, I don't know how.
I mean, there's a lot more collisions. There are a lot of collisions, and they don't wear any protection.
Maybe they're hitting the ball with their head.
I was going to say that, hitting the ball, yeah.
And they whip their head when they do it.
Yeah,
maybe when they fake their injuries, they fall and hit their head by mistake.
Yeah, well, hopefully he comes back soon and he can play again. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm as dramatic as Vince with the concerns, but if he really is, uncomfortable even getting on the ice and it's been a month, he might be out for a long time, and if, we got to start having a conversation at that point, who's going to play third line center, or it's going to be Nick Bonino the whole year. So I'm going to start having that conversation, but
I got another medical question.
Any more questions
before Aaron goes? Not about Nick Bonino playing third line center. Are certain people more susceptible to it? Like we say, a boxer some guys can take a punch, some can't. So are certain people susceptible to it for what I call soft?
Yeah, I was reading up on CTE, and apparently there's like people who have a genetic predisposition to the certain buildup of protein. So it's like if you're involved in these sports and you get concussions or frequent brain injuries, then you're more likely to develop it than someone who doesn't have that genetic predisposition. So they're getting more into studying the genetics of it, which is interesting.
Interesting.
But it's not about like being, soft. It's actually, they can't help it. But that's part of it. Like it's hard. It's because the person is telling you their symptoms, so it's like hard to really assess it. Like one of the assessments is how bad is your headache, and like obviously everyone's pain tolerance is different, and their rating of their pain would be, some people say it's a 10 out of 10, and then someone else might say that's only a 2 out of 10. So it's more about making sure it's not getting more severe or worse, I guess. And that's related to them returning to the sport too. If they do light exercise, that's like in step 2, just like increasing your heart rate. And then you have symptoms, then they dial it back and they take a day break, and then they start again at step 2 and hope that you don't have symptoms. And if you keep having symptoms, they just keep on taking a day. So that could be why he's still out. He could be stuck on like step 3 is returning to individual sport exercise. So that'd be like skating, or I guess any like off ice drills you guys might do. And then if he keeps on having these exacerbated symptoms, his symptoms are worse, then they can't really do anything. Like they have to just let him be in charge of returning,
Wow. Yeah, I think the league is very strict now. I don't know all the protocols, but the league has got sued by former players for pretty much letting guys play with concussion symptoms and causing them to get more concussions. Guys suffering from CTE, things like that. So I think there was a huge lawsuit against the league. I don't remember when that was, maybe 10 years ago. It was a while ago. So the league has very strict protocols for liability reasons, and teams are usually extra cautious with concussion. So even if he's saying, we don't know what he's saying. He might be saying, yeah, I still have a headache, but it's not that bad. And they're like, all right, you're not playing till you don't have a headache, so I don't care. So who knows, how it's working.
Right. And there's you have to be out 7 to 10 days. They probably are going to go on the safe side and say 10 days. And then it's a 6-step return to sport strategy. So then that's 16 days. And if that's if you get it perfect and you feel fine. If obviously, like I said, if you keep backpedaling, then you could be out 30 days, 40 days. So
yeah. Well, hopefully you can start skating soon and get back. But yeah, let's keep an eye on the neck injury thing. I think you make a good point. He is out for a while, and he might have a minor concussion with a neck injury as well, right? That could be a problem. So,
Dad and Ed, do they train you guys on the on the ice questions you ask kids when they get hit?
Well, they did years ago when we were at Chaminade. We had to take the concussion protocol.
We were supposed to ask them what day of the week it is, what school do you go to, just basic questions like that, I guess, right?
Where are we right now?
Yeah, the rink. What rink are we playing in? Kind of yeah.
And then I was always told to look at the pupils.
Yeah.
If they're really large or really small.
Yeah, so exactly. It's like the orientation questions. And then the pupils are important because if one is larger than the other, that's more indicative of a brain bleed. So they probably taught you guys how to look for those red flags, excessive vomiting. That's not normal, obviously.
That's the big.
When I played in juniors, one of my teammates got badly concussed, and he came back to the bench at first, and he was like, I'm fine. And we were looking at him, and he didn't look fine. His eyes were he looked like he wasn't even there. And then he just started vomiting on the bench, immediately, within 5 minutes of the concussion. And they took him off. And that's when I learned that vomiting, there's a whole thing the coach had to explain to us. If you feel like you got a head injury, you can't lay on your back. You have to do, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is crazy. This whole process, you could vomit while on your back or something. You could die if you choke on your vomit or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a whole process with it.
Yeah. So it's really common that they get a blank look too. That's probably what you noticed in your friend.
Yeah. He was just
a blank stare. Yeah.
He forgot what he was doing.
Yeah. And they always forget what happened. If you say what happened, what just happened, why do you have a headache, or what can you tell me what happened in this play? They never remember. That's then it's okay, you have to come off.
Well, his concussion is probably caused by the fact that he never wore his mouthpiece, and instead he would pack a full lip on the bottom during the game, and he probably swallowed that when he got hit.
Yeah,
so that's
probably why. That's why he was throwing up.
Yeah.
Gross.
So, anyway, thank you for coming on. I know you waited a long time. I appreciate that. And hopefully we can have you on soon, but also hopefully not, because hopefully all these guys get healthy. So hopefully I see you in person soon, and we don't have to talk about Rangers injuries.
What happened to Adam Fox?
He's got a sprained knee, and he's skating, finally. There's a knee-on-knee collision. You didn't see that? I'll send you that video.
I was trying to Google it because I heard you guys talking about it just before. And
you got to check
lower
Twitter.
Body.
Twitter has all the videos. Just type in Fox knee injury on Twitter in the search, and you'll find it.
I have a question for you related to our team. We have a player who was diagnosed with an high ankle sprain. Doctor said 4 to 6 weeks. What can we do to get him back for Friday? What can we do to get him back for Friday? What can we do to get him back? What can we do to get him back for next Friday?
Tape it up.
When did it happen?
Last Saturday.
I mean,
this past Saturday, so like 4 days ago.
Can it get worse? Is my question.
Yeah, of course. I think
if it's
a high
taped
ankle,
up, can it get worse?
That has to do with like the ligaments between the two bones in your leg, the tibia and fibula, has to do with those ligaments, and then also the ones that connect your foot to your leg bones. So I wouldn't mess around with that, Dad.
Can I send him to Dr. Sun?
Yeah, but you can't. You can't you're gonna get.
All right, we're not forcing the kid to play. Everyone listening, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh God! All right, EAPA.
Thanks for coming on.
No further questions.
Your Honor.
No further questions. I rest my
Coach
case.
Ed has a random question about a player that played 6 years ago for us or something.
I'm good.
Okay.
He just likes to talk to her. That's all.
I can give you the on the field or on the ice concussion thing. You should post to Instagram maybe if you want.
Yeah, send that the 6-step process you were talking about.
Well, the return to that, and then there's the the non-medical provider questionnaire thing that coaches and trainers do.
Is that for youth or NHL?
What?
Is that for the NHL or is it youth?
It's for anyone that's 13 and older. So that's what the NHL uses, I'm sure.
Yeah, send it over and we'll post it to Instagram for sure. That's a good idea.
The more you guys know.
All right. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. How do I get off of this thing?
Just hit leave studio.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Have a good night. Love you.
All right. So that was interesting. I thought about a neck injury with him, but Vince was so adamant that it was a concussion, and I really trust Vince. He's our best beat reporter right now. So I don't know. We'll see. It's something to look out for. All right. Let's jump into Coach's Corner with Coach Ed.
Oh, boy. All right, boys, bring it in.
All right, little Ed, do we have to introduce this before we get going?
I think so.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it.
Well, before we get into this, we wanted to apologize on our social media behalf. Cousin Ed got a little excited the other night and tweeted out that Jack Hughes was taking the face-off on Panarin's game-tying goal. Got a lot of angry messages from shockingly more Ranger fans than anybody saying that we just attacked Jack Hughes and we're just looking for things to say about him. It was an honest mistake that Cousin Ed made. However, I would like to point out that even if he wasn't taking the face-off, there's a reason why he's not taking the face-off, first of all, because he's not trusted to take the face-off. And also that he missed his assignment or his initial assignment on the face-off itself. So we wanted Coach Ed to point out exactly what that meant. And before we say this, I mean, this is our philosophy on face-off positioning, and we didn't make this up. It's typically what teams and what coaches use. There's no secrets. Like we always say, the NHL is a very copycat league. So more often than not, this is what the wingers and what the defensemen should be thinking about on the face-off.
And
Coach,
before,
can you just adjust your board a little bit? There's a light glare on there.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
And before Coach goes in, I just want to say a couple things. Number one, Twitter is a cesspool. Okay, you guys are horrible. No, I'm just kidding, but it is a cesspool. People make mistakes, guys. All right, it was a quick thing. I looked at the replay. I saw Hughes on the ice. I assumed stupidly that Hughes, a center, took the face off, and I was wrong. Okay, so I'm sorry. I deleted the tweet, and then they came at us because we deleted the tweet. Well, what do you want me to do? Leave incorrect information up there? I'm just trying to lessen the misinformation out in the world, right? So that's number one. Number two, we don't hate Jack Hughes. Well, I don't, at least. I don't know. Little Ed might, but I don't. I don't hate Jack Hughes. I think Jack Hughes is a dynamic offensive player. I would love for him to be on the Rangers. He contributes how he contributes. He's an offensive, he's going to be a 100-point player for the next 10 years. I do not hate the player at all, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have flaws. You can think Jack Hughes is extremely dynamic, and you can think all those things, but if you can't honestly assess a player, then I don't hear about it. Because all we hear about Jack Hughes from Rangers fans is, oh, Jack Hughes, we could have had Jack Hughes. But Jack Hughes is a flawed player. And Coach Ed's going to explain now why he is, or an example of why he is. So go ahead, Coach.
What was the game situation, by the way? Was it tied at the time? What was the game?
It was the Rangers. No, the Rangers were down 3-2. Offensive zone faceoff. We have Panarin lined up on the wing in front of the net.
Right, that I have.
There was about, I'd say, 8:50 left. There was an icing, so the Devils players were stuck on the ice, including Jack Hughes. And he was on the wing, not taking the draw, which I think centers usually take draws, right, Cuz?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they usually take them.
I think, or trusted centers, at least we should say, yeah.
But he plays with Hall, so he doesn't have to, I guess.
Right. So, yeah, so Hughes was not taking the faceoff. He was lined up next to Panarin in front of the net. And there was about 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third period, up 3-2. Yes.
The Devils were up 3-2.
Correct.
And they had two wingers right next to each other, Coach, right in front of Panarin. So they had Hughes there and then one behind him.
Well, I have a Devil here. I didn't know if it was a winger. No, it was Dave. First of all,
not behind him, like in front of the net, more in front of the net. Yeah, it was like
okay. That. All right, whatever. All right, so he's over here. We had two men there. So first of all, situational. I try to teach players since they're 8 years old. Situational, time on the clock, score, what period it is. All these little nuances of the game. If they're winning 3-2, I don't care if you're the best player in the world. This is my gripe with Panarin for the last few years also. I've been saying it that Ovechkin gave in and settled in and played his right role. If he knows it's a 3-2 game, and first of all, at his skill level, he doesn't have to jump and cheat. All right? He's quick enough to hold on with Panarin for a second in this spot, and if the puck goes here, to jump and get it, because Panarin probably won't hold him up. He's that quick on his feet. So what he tried to do was, which Eddie always says that he does all the time, and it's going to burn him in the ass. They probably tried to get the puck forward, or assuming the Rangers center won, he was trying to jump it and split the D and go on a breakaway. All right. So by doing that, he left his other teammate in no man's land. Panarin took a half a step back, got the shot off quick, and tied the game.
No, he didn't even take a half a step back. He went in. The puck was kind of tied up in the dot.
Right, so
he took a step forward. Yeah, step forward.
Okay, so he jumped in a little bit. So if he ties him up, that doesn't happen. They're still winning 3-2. Good chance they can go on and win the game. But by him cheating a little and jumping it, that settled the score on that play. And it probably
Coach, even
happened.
worse. Even worse. I'm just looking at your board. It's hard for me to see. But the way you have it set up, at least my recollection of the play, which I watched again because I made a mistake, but the way where you have that second guy behind Hughes, what I meant by behind him is like down on the board towards the other circle. So they were lined up like 4 across and then one behind the circle by the
goal line. Yeah. So here? Oh, so that's where I had him, and you said no. You said
sorry. Sorry, no, my bad. So they were like that, and then Hughes was the inside man and jumped. So that other Devil was kind of stuck. He wasn't blocking Panarin's path to the net at all. So Panarin had a clear path to shoot.
Right. And also
now he's got to chase Panarin. That second guy has to chase Panarin to the point.
The defenseman has to jump on. Right. A lot of people were saying to me, oh no, Jack Hughes was going out to cover the point. Who was supposed to cover the point in that situation? To me, it was very clear that Hughes went for the puck. He went for almost like a toe drag type move to get the puck loose. He missed, spun his whole body around, and turned his back on the defenseman. So as a defenseman, I see that, and then I just disappear and I go around Hughes, and he's not covered at all. So to me, he wasn't covering the point at all. Like we were just saying, he was looking for the fast break. And when you go back to say the situation, Panarin's the hottest player in the league right now. And you're going to leave him without untouched on a faceoff draw as a winger, or as a center, I should say. And Devils fans and even Ranger fans that I'm arguing with online are saying he's the best player in the league. He's a great captain, a great leader. If he's such a good player and he's such a good leader, he should be directing traffic on that faceoff, especially as a center, because that's a center's main responsibility, is to make sure everyone knows what their responsibilities are on the faceoff draw. And if you're going to tell me that it was the defenseman's responsibility to pick up Panarin, then Hughes should be reminding his defenseman, hey, I'm jumping the faceoff. You got Panarin.
Right.
Well, exactly. They didn't even line up. I don't know what they were doing, Coach. Maybe you can explain, because the way they had it was they had Haula taking the draw, 2 wingers in front of Panarin, and then the 2D on the outside. Well, one of the D was kind of more towards the middle of the circle, like closer to Hughes.
A lot of teams are doing that now. I mean, the way we're doing it is the way hockey was doing it probably 5 years ago, where we have the 2 forwards here and a D here, a D here. So if we win it back, either this D is going to get it or this D has to jump on the forward. So now what a lot of teams are doing, I noticed, they're not putting the D in front. They're still putting the 2 wingers, and they're putting a D back here, which I kind of don't agree with. Again, with the skill level of defensemen in this league, they should be able to make a jump on that play, get the puck and send it around, or make a move with your partner over here. If the other D is over here, there's 2 chances to get the puck if it's loose here. So I agree with the way we always do it. I've been cheating this guy down a little bit to give him a half a step on this forward where he could still cover him, but that's debatable. But the whole point is Jack Hughes should know better, like Eddie said. And even if he wants to jump it, then he should have the other guy here, and he should be here and jump here, and this guy's still on Panarin.
Yeah, because like you said, he has the foot speed that he doesn't need that extra step to line up closer to the center.
His first 3 steps without the puck especially are ridiculous. So there's no way the puck's not going to go back that hard where he's not going to jump it and grab it.
Well, plus he has to read the play. He has to read the play, right? So
if anything, by being here and letting his teammate cover Panarin, he's going uninhibited today. He's going untouched because this guy's tying up Panarin. So he's got even less of a chance of getting tied up.
Right.
Because Panarin should have actually got him a little bit and stopped him from getting to the point.
And what Cousin Ed just said is like, you have to read the play. Yeah, you have to read the play a little bit, as if I said this online to someone too, is if the draw is not won cleanly, it's a completely different situation. And in this case, the draw wasn't won cleanly. It was tied up in the centers. So why are you trying to jump the play if the puck is tied up?
Well, he might be yelling at his center, kick it, or the center might know he's doing that, trying to kick it, but whoever the Rangers center was did a good job at not letting him do it.
Trocheck.
So again, that's something else that they should both take into consideration. It's probably the Rangers' best centerman on the faceoff. Let's not do it on this play. Let's play defensively. So that's another situation. Now, if the score, in my opinion, is
8 minutes left.
Right. If the score is 3-2 Rangers and you want to do this, that's a different story. If you want to take that chance, that's up to the coach and the players to discuss before the game or in between periods or whatever. But being up a goal, I'm surprised that happened. I'm very surprised. And again, that's got to come with maturity. He's got to know that that's, hopefully he learned from that. And that's why his plus minus isn't, where it should be probably.
He's got to dig, I would think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's got to recognize immediately he can start his jump, but he's got to recognize this is a tie-up. Puck's right here. It's not squirting out. Stop and help his center control the puck.
Without a doubt.
Or tie Panarin, one or the other. Or you
the first job of this inside guy, this is the devil, is to check is to go to that point. This is his point, but you stop if it's tied up and you check it if there's a loose puck. And then if it's one back, you go and get in the shooting lane. You're not going to get the puck, but you're going to prohibit that guy from getting a clear shot.
Yep.
Your job of covering the point isn't standing next to the guy. It's covering a passing lane or a shooting lane in this situation. So this forward gets out to this guy, and that's his job to just, even if he loses the draw, just stop him from getting a shot to the net, and he's got to go up the wall. And then you have your other teammate here. You know, there's 50-50 battles after that. But he just gave up, went for the break, and that's a big no-no. Obviously, he paid the price on it.
The biggest difference here is face-off responsibilities versus defensive zone responsibilities. I'm not arguing against you guys online that, yes, Hughes should be covering that point as a winger, but he also has face-off responsibilities first. And that's where he made the mistake.
Definitely. It's got to be it's a check and then a go. And if he wins it clean back to that, clean back to that D, then he goes.
Right. And this check that you're talking about is a split second in real time. It's not sit there and wait, cover Panarin, wait for Panarin to make a decision, then go. It's like Panarin's good, tied up, the defenseman's here. All right, I'm gone. This happens in like a split second, especially on the NHL level. And he didn't even give it a split second. He was already just gone, looking for the breakaway, up 3-2 in the third period.
And again, he's an elite player in the world.
100%.
He has that ability. He has that ability to check, and then go if there's a break. Even if he's here and this center or this guy gets the puck, he's gone in a split second. It happens all the time. That's how he gets these breakaways. These D get caught puck watching for a split second, and they chip it off the boards. They're not pivoting and catching them. There's very few guys that are going to pivot and catch him. So he can stop and wait and then go.
Yep.
There's no reason for him to cheat, in my opinion.
Yeah. So look, this is something that is just an example. Yes, we're being super critical of a nuanced play, but this is how hockey games are won and lost, on nuanced plays. I mean, mistakes by players. Everyone is so good in this league that, like, that's how you win a game, is somebody made a mistake, and that was Jack Hughes who made that mistake. So, yes, he didn't take the draw, but in my opinion, and I don't know if you guys agree, but I think that's on him because he had Panarin and he just ignored him.
We agree. Yeah.
So with things like that, like, yes, you can say Jack Hughes is a great player, but you have to acknowledge when a player doesn't do something well. You can't just sit here and say they're perfect and they're wonderful if they're making mistakes like that cost the Devils 2 points. They really did, because the Rangers flipped the momentum. They scored the fourth goal on the VC goal, and they ended up winning the game in regulation. So the Devils lost points in standings.
That being said, anyone out there can go back and listen to all of our episodes in last year, year before, destroying Panarin and other players that we thought weren't producing defensively. You know, so with all the points that Panarin's put up in the past, we always criticize his defensive game. So it's not just Jack Hughes. We criticize everyone. And with that, I'll say, I said it to you, I said it to the chat yesterday, that was a horrible play by Keandre Miller. Not a similar situation, but the Rangers were winning on a power play. He tried to make a bonehead play at the point. Was it a power play? I don't remember. But either way, he tried to make a.
Was it Miller who made that pass?
No, Miller went for the pass, and then he caught the pass and then went to do like a toe drag, and the Dallas player poked it away and went down on a 2-on-1, and that's the reason they won the game, in my opinion.
Well, to me, that was
very similar. They tied the game on that play, and then they had the momentum after that. It was over.
But to me, that was on VC.
Yeah,
Keandre was breaking in. Keandre was breaking in, and he did try to do the wrong play. I get it, but VC just should have went deep with that.
Yep.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I remember somebody's
kind of calling for the pass though in that play, so it's tough.
I know, but Keandre is wrong if he was calling for it. But VC's again more of a defensive-minded player. He usually doesn't make that mistake, and I'm sure he knows he did it wrong. The coach didn't even have to say anything to him. So
yeah, sometimes you don't give the puck to a teammate who's calling for it. We all know that.
Right. But very similar play.
You're right, though. A defensive breakdown, or not even defensive breakdown, but a nuanced play, because they had the puck, right? So it's the offensive zone. So, okay. But a play with the lead, you got to be a little more careful, a little more conservative. And that was a dangerous play, and it led to a goal against, and it changed the momentum of the game. And the Rangers ended up losing. But, all right. We're going to skip the banter tonight. I know there's a lot of games, other than to give some respect to Sam Rosen. I don't know if a lot of you saw the reel that Little Ed posted when we were in the Hall of Fame. We saw Sam's plaque there. We also met Sam, got to shake his hand. We saw him at the induction. We saw him at the after party. So that was really cool. My favorite part of that reel, by the way, if you guys watch it again, is the part where he's walking into the room with Coach Ed, then Coach Ed points at Little Ed as if to be like, "Oh, come with me over here. This is my son." Sam doesn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, I think he said like, "Oh no, there they are," or something like that. Like, he was
come over here.
Us.
Yeah. He's like hogging Sam. Yeah. So that's my favorite part. And Sam's like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Super nice guy. Super nice guy.
I did a Little Ed flop on that.
Yeah.
Cousin Ed flop.
Yeah. I said it in the induction episode. I'll say it again. His voice just sounds fake. Like he just projects even at his age, and he just has the voice for what he does without a doubt.
Yeah, he's had a great career, there's no question. And congrats to him again on the his Hall of Fame induction years ago at this point, but well deserved. All right. Let's
kudos to him for showing up for Hank's induction. That's not an easy travel. Get there, spend time,
Yeah.
Well, he called his entire career. I'm sure he felt as a fan, he wasn't seated in the front or anything. He was in the back with us. No. He was like five rows ahead of us. So. Yep. All right. Let's move into
imagine if we had the seat next to him.
That would have been crazy.
Oh my God. Whoever was like in his row, there's one guy they were like falling asleep though. So I don't know. All right, let's go to our stars of the week. All right, boys, I got the spreadsheet open. Episode 104. We got 5 games to cover. I know we didn't cover all those games so thoroughly in the episode, but they're all eligible for all the awards. So we're going to consider the stats and everything from the 5 games. We'll start with the offensive player of the week. I'm going to throw a little twist here, and I'm going to start. Usually I go to somebody else, but I'll start it. I went with my boy.
Wow.
Vinny Trocheck. Trocheck's been red hot. Last year,
Your boy?
I love Trocheck.
You've been saying there's no way he's a second line center. This is ridiculous.
I didn't say that. Dude, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said he's not a second line center. I said I wanted to make Chytil the second line center because Trocheck is a better third line center than Chytil. I never said Trocheck's not a second line center. I love Trocheck's game. He does everything. He hits. He plays good defense. He wins faceoffs. Yeah, look it up. I never said that. No way I said that. And he can score. He's got a great shot. 10 points in these games, so I went with Vinny Trocheck. You guys are ridiculous. It's insane. Little Ed, who'd you take?
Mikey produces with Trocheck also. I thought you were keeping Panarin until he doesn't. I guess he didn't get a point. So there you go.
Exactly.
I got Panarin still, even without the Dallas game last night. I mean, the Breadman's on fire right now. I think the pointless game last night's going to be a blip on the radar. He'll be right back on track next game.
Coach with Trocheck too. Yeah, Panarin was obviously second choice there. All right, so 3 for Trocheck and 1 for Panarin. That's how good Trocheck's been, that he's in that conversation, because Panarin was great in these games. All right, defensive player of the week. We're going to go to Mikey Produces to start this. Who you got, Mikey?
I'm giving it to 7-0, big Louis D. Nice big win.
Louis Domingue.
Oh, my God. I
love that.
A great win. Great win with them in net.
Yeah.
That was the game against the Wild was in this series, right? Where him and Flower had the French game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's got to feel pretty damn good for Flower to say that to you and then go out there and kind of outplay him or at least get the win. Flower played really, really well that game, though, too, but the Rangers just got it done.
I think Domingue is probably one of the best third goalies in the league, to be honest with you. If you looked at I don't even know who all the third goalies are, but I would venture to guess that he's one of the top 5 third goalies in the league.
He has to be.
But,
some teams are struggling to find one goalie.
I know, like Edmonton.
Maybe they should trade Domingue to Edmonton for Ryan Nugent Hopkins.
For Connor
McDavid. An Uncle Pat special.
Yeah, give him Chytil and Louis Domingue for Connor McDavid.
You got a little Ed.
I'm going with Trouba again, kind of similar to what Mikey's saying. Until Trouba has a bad game, I think he's staying on here for me. He's just playing unbelievable right now. He's just a force, throwing those hits against the Devils, being a captain. He was definitely injured last year because he looks like a different player this year.
I went with Trouba. I'm looking around this team at Little Ed, 3 assists, 14 shots on goal, 14 blocks, 21 hits in the 5 games. I mean,
and what we're saying before, 21 hits in 5 games. So
the eye
maybe
test
that is a little fair, but he's throwing a lot of hits.
That's 4 hits a game. It's a lot of hits.
He's got to be throwing more than that, in my opinion.
No, but he's been credited for 4 hits a game.
Yeah, so that
means
good.
He had 8. Right?
That means probably more.
Coach and he had 8. Well. He had a couple of woo hits against the Devils. He came to play against the Devils. And I watched him last night. The eye test just shows I watch him without the puck and he's just on his game. He's looking around. He's watching where the guys are. He's watching when Robertson's out there. There you go, the woo hitter.
He gets the grandma's woo hitter of the week.
What the hell is that?
Poppy O'Neill gave me this when I was in college. It might have even been before college, but he said that my grandma would stick her hand over the glass with this when the players would come and try and hit me.
That's hilarious.
So he always said the woo hit is for when the crowd goes woo, like when he's there, like in awe of like a big hit.
Like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So just I'm saying,
it just reminds me of the Woo Girls and How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
If you're watching the game, try to watch Trouba without the puck, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's hard because then you don't end up watching the game, but you just see what he's doing behind the play, and he's on his game right now.
Yeah, he looks good. I'm with you.
Yeah,
happy with his game. All right, key contributor award, Coach. Who you got for your key contributor?
I got to see if I can do this.
Up.
Louis gets 2 awards this week. Love it. We got it.
You got to give Louis the key contributor coming in against the Wild. The Wild aren't doing great, but they're a very good team, and he shut them down pretty much.
Yeah, he did a great job. 25 saves in that game, a win. Great game by him for sure. Little Ed.
I went with Trocheck, Vinny T. Because I couldn't give him the offensive. He's just doing everything right now. Like you said, faceoffs, hitting, scoring, assists, everything.
I went with Alexis Lafreniere. Getting a game-tying goal, game-winning goal, 3 points against the Wild. Just overall, he's been playing really well and directly responsible for number one. I think he was the number 1 star twice in these games, if I recall correctly. So really nice to see. Mikey Produces agrees on Lafreniere.
I second that.
All right. Let's go to our highlight play. Little Ed, what you got for your highlight?
I'm going first again. I was hoping I was going to go last. What?
All right, go last. Go last. I'll start.
I'm going to see what you guys pick, and then I have 2 that I'm between.
Right.
So I want to give love to whoever you guys don't pick.
The Laffy shootout winner.
There you go.
Against Columbus.
That was beautiful. That's the skill we've been looking for, right?
That was so sick.
I second that.
Yep. Coach?
I'm going with Laffy, but on the tying goal, Panarin to Kreider in front and Kreider with that little side dish to Laffy.
Yeah.
That was a play. I mean, Laffy's goal in overtime was phenomenal, but as far as a highlight play, that was fucking beautiful. I have to curse on that one.
And Little Ed, is those the 2 you're between?
Yep, that was the 2 in between. So I'll even it out and I'll go with Coach on the game tying goal, just because we also had the very cool reaction at the bar in Toronto with everybody. So I mean, we had a similar reaction to the shootout goal, but I think the tying goal, it was very intense. Everyone was like all tensed up, especially with the goalie pulled and everything.
Did we tell the
place kind of just erupted?
Did we tell the story with the bets for overtime?
On the induction episode. Yep.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I think that does it for me with the reaction at the bar.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an awesome moment.
I also just think that that's another stage in Kreider's maturity where he knows those plays are there. He does it with Zibby all the time.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't just shoot it. He's thinking plays. He's thinking of what's going on the ice. I think it's great.
He's a very technical player. He's like a knock hockey player. Like he knows exactly like the technical, like bank it off here, like throw it in this spot and it'll go in. Like he's like literally like a knock hockey player.
And again, that's not easy to do with the speed of the game. That's what makes it even more impressive to me.
Yeah. All right. It's time for Coach Ed's Copyright Doghouse Award. And this award is sponsored by Suiter's Sweet Treats. Check them out at suitersweettreats.net. Use code EDPOD23. Get 10% off your order plus a free doghouse cookie. All right, Coach, this is your award. So I'm going to start with you. Last week, you had Kako, Chytil, the people who designed the Rangers' third jersey in the doghouse. So who do you got this week? First, go through it. Is Kako out? Is Chytil out? And are the people who designed the third jersey out? And then tell me.
Well, the people who designed the third jersey, that jersey is not going to grow on me at all. So they're in. As long as the Rangers step on the ice at the stadium game with that jersey, they're in it. I'm going to take Chytil out only because I do feel bad if it is somewhat of a career-threatening injury. Kako's out. He's been playing pretty good the last 2 games I've been watching him. He obviously got the goal last night off the bank shot, but he's still making the right play. So I'm moving into, I don't know if you guys could see it. Is it too far away?
Bring it closer. You got to bring it closer. It looks like
there it is. Head on over to YouTube to check out the doghouse, the Coach Ed's doghouse.
Yes.
Let's see it. Keandre.
Oh, Keandre?
Keandre.
All right.
There he is.
Explain.
So why is Keandre?
I'm just watching him play again. My eye test and watching him without the puck, and he's just not there for his skill level. He should be on the point on the power play. He's not even close to that level as far as hockey IQ right now, and I'm just disappointed in his overall ability and his level of play.
Can't argue with that.
Okay, so Keandre Miller
not playing horrible, but again, like we always talk about, they're not playing up to that level that we expect or that he should be.
People who designed the third jersey and Keandre Miller are in the doghouse for Coach. All right, we will go next to Mikey. Last week, you had Kako plus the refs from the Carolina game. Are you going to take the refs from the Carolina game out?
Unless, as long as they weren't the refs from
it was like a month ago. Can we take them out?
So yeah, let's take them out.
It could have been, yeah. It could have been them last night in Dallas too.
It's a lot of research, Mike, to find that out.
Look it up.
I'm leaving Kako in there. I know he scored a goal last night. It was a lucky shot. Just need to see a little bit more from him, and I'm putting Mika in. I didn't get a chance to chirp on him earlier, but I'm kind of in panic mode. I know he's doing all the right things, but he needs to be on the score sheet. Absolutely. This man's supposed to be a sniper, one of the best snipers in the league.
I'm with you, Mikey. I think he should cut it. I think he should cut his hair like Panarin.
You took Kako out, Little Ed? You had Kako last
week.
week.
Yeah, Kako's out. He's playing a little bit better, showing some like we said in the other episodes, he wasn't even doing hits, turnovers, nothing. It's just he wasn't doing anything. At least he's doing those things to get on the score sheet, and even if it's not scoring, so I'll take him out. But Zibby's definitely in. Need to see more from him. And I was going to put Miller in too, but we'll just go with Zibby for now.
So last week I had Kako in. I'm leaving Kako in. Kako scored, yes. And Coach, I do agree with you and what Little Ed said. I think he's a little bit more energetic on that third line than he's been on the first line. But it's not just about how he looks. It is a results-based league. You know what I mean? And I look at Kako too often. This is his stats for the entire season. 2 goals and 1 assist. 2 goals and 1 assist. On pace for 15 points over 82 games. 4 block shots, 3 hits, 7 takeaways, and 7 giveaways. What is he doing?
Not going to cut it.
2 penalty minutes. He's not even like I don't want to take penalties, but at least like if you're taking a penalty, you're engaged in the game or so. Like I don't know. It's too often a passenger. And when he was drafted as an alpha dog. He was supposed to be a bull power forward who drives to the net. Look, last night he drives to the net. He scores a goal. He's got to do that. Drive to the net. Drive to the net. I want to see him drive to the net. So he's still in until he consistently is driving to the net. And also joining him in my doghouse is Zibanejad and Shesterkin. Putting both in.
Yikes.
And honestly, Shesterkin, Zibanejad had enough said. We talked about it. But Shesterkin, too many weak goals. I know you're rusty, but come on. Like he let in like 4 goals that trickled in through his body in 2 games. Like come on, get that together. You know, you give up whatever. You can be rusty once or twice. I'll let it go. But it's just not good enough. You know, sometimes Shesterkin needs to make that big save. And I think the biggest difference I noticed between him and Lundqvist is just how consistent Lundqvist was. Shesterkin is probably as good as Lundqvist in his best moments. But like Lundqvist was just pretty consistent throughout his career. And like he'd give up a bad goal, but it wouldn't be like 3 bad goals. You know, like it'd be 1. So for now, I got Igor in the doghouse. Hopefully he's out next week. This is what happens when you do it after a loss, though, because if we recorded before the Dallas game, it probably would have just been Kako and Zibby. I would have gave Igor a break because they won against the Devils. But DeAndre's a good one, Coach. He hasn't been good. I agree with you on that.
I'm just watching him. He's not taking good routes to the puck. He's not angling the guys good on hits behind the net. He's just missing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
His skill level.
I'm with you. Totally with you. All right. Let's get into the trivia.
It's time to throw it over to Mikey P with your Rangers Ed 150, the fastest 150 seconds in the National Hockey Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rangers Ed 150. It was a pretty beige week in the NHL as we've officially gotten into our regular season rhythm. Out west in the Pacific Division, the Vegas Golden Knights just are not it all of a sudden. They've lost 5 of their last 7, including 1 to Pittsburgh, 1 to Washington, and 1 to Philly last week, while they're only squeaking away with 1 W against the Habs 6-5 on Thursday night. Canucks also dropped 2 last week, and LA picked up a couple points in the standings with wins over Florida and St. Louis. Further east in the Central Division, not much to talk about here as well. No change in the standings with the Stars, Avs, and Jets in the 1, 2, and 3 spots. Dallas had a tough one Sunday against the Avs, losing 6-3, but ultimately this division is still theirs to lose. The Jets have also put together a few nice wins, and they're looking like a team that really has a solid back end. Kyle Connor's tied for the league in goals with 14 with Austin Matthews, and their defensive core of Morrissey, Dillon, DeMello, and Pionk are very difficult to get pucks and bodies behind. The Jets' issue in the last 5 years or so has been consistency and maintaining their high-level play through the course of the regular season and into the playoffs, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Back east in the big boy half of the league, Florida Panthers suffered a big loss on Friday when Alexander Barkov collided knee-on-knee with Jackson Lacombe of the Anaheim Ducks and did leave the game. Paul Maurice commented that Barkov did avoid a major knee injury and he is listed as day-to-day, so hopefully there's nothing serious there and he does come back soon. The Bruins also had some unfortunate news with veteran fourth-line winger Milan Lucic arrested this past weekend after a domestic incident. He's taking a leave of absence from the team. There was an alleged altercation with his wife, and he is to be arraigned in court on Tuesday in Massachusetts. Back to the hockey, though. The Bruins had 2 games last week, and they came away with 5-2 wins against both Buffalo and the Canadiens to hang on to that number 1 spot in the division. Tampa had another mediocre week, and it's become very apparent how much they are missing Andrei Vasilevsky. They surrendered 5 goals in a shutout loss to the Blues. They beat the Blackhawks 4-2, and despite beating the Oilers 6-4, they did surrender 4 goals yet again, which is not a recipe for continued success. Finally, in the Metro Division, playoff tickets are officially on sale in Philadelphia as the Flyers are in the number 2 spot for the first time since I couldn't even tell you when. Flyers are riding a quality 5-game win streak with wins over Anaheim, LA, Carolina, and Vegas, and Columbus. Very unlikely Philly does make it happen this season, but it would be nice to see Carter Hart have at least a little bit of success. He's gotten absolutely pummeled for every single second he's been in the NHL because the Flyers have been absolute crap for almost a decade, so it would be nice to see him get a little bit of a taste for the W. Washington's also flipping the standings upside down in this division. They got a nice little 4-game win streak after I trashed them a couple weeks ago, so shout out to them. The Devils have lost 3 of their last 5, including a 5-3 loss to the Rangers last Saturday night, and they are also really, really struggling both defensively and between the pipes. The Hurricanes are in that number 4 spot. They dropped down 1 place since last week, but they do have a game in hand over the Flyers, so nothing to sweat there. 2 through 7 spots in this division are all separated by 4 points, so this will probably shake out pretty soon. While this is a big brawl of the middlemen at the moment, you'll likely see Carolina and New Jersey and potentially the Islanders move up in the standings a bit. After only 1 game last week, the Rangers come back with 4 this week. They got a really tough week. Tonight, Monday, they have the Dallas Stars. Wednesday, they have the Penguins. Then Friday, Saturday, they have back-to-back with the Red Hot Flyers and Bruins. They got 4 games against 4 quality opponents for the boys in blue, so we will really see what they are made of this week. Till next week, this has been your 150.
Great job by Mikey P. That might have been 150 seconds. You're muted, little Ed.
Very close to.
Actually was this time, huh? That Milan Lucic situation is crazy, man. Crazy.
Well, it's pretty terrible.
I think I mean,
the allegations are pretty serious.
I guess Mikey recorded this last night. I saw today that he pleaded not guilty too. So,
wow,
it's a weird situation. It's very interesting. So I'll try and keep an eye on it. I hate
to clarify that
podcast, but it's pretty crazy.
Just to clarify that's standard. Your first court date, you usually plead not guilty, even if you are guilty.
Okay.
Doesn't mean he's not going to enter a plea at a later date, but usually you hire a lawyer. It's the first court date is too soon for the lawyer to properly advise you whether you should or shouldn't plea. So the strategy is you enter a not guilty plea, you get some discovery, and you work on the case a little bit, and then you advise your client, hey, you're dead to rights, or hey, you got a defense. So that's standard. So he may end up entering into some kind of plea agreement at a later time, but pretty sad news. I mean, I don't particularly like Lucic, but I didn't think he would do something like that. It's pretty sad. Terrible, if true. The worst part about it, not to get too crazy, is that apparently there were kids around while it was happening. So just disgusting if true. But all right, let's get off that and go into the trivia. Mikey, hopefully you got it. Do we have to close the stat sheet?
No, you don't.
All right.
You do not have to close the stat sheet.
I just wanted to be honest because I'm winning by so much. I don't want any asterisks. So,
who was the first New York? Ooh. Is everyone ready?
Yes. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Who was the first New York Rangers player to score a hat trick against the New York Islanders on the road at Nassau Coliseum?
Roger Bear. No, seriously, I took Roger Bear.
I was gonna.
I took Vic Hatfield.
I had Vic and I crossed it out and put Gilbert.
Bill Esposito.
Espo.
So it was a lot more recent than you guys are thinking. It was done in 1997.
Wow.
So you guys
wait, they didn't score a hat trick at the Coliseum until 1997?
Yeah.
So it's Wayne Gretzky.
No.
All right, who we got?
Mark Messier.
Oh man. That's I was actually gonna I was thinking about putting him, but I was like, nah, it's gotta be when they first started or closer, like whatever, when the Coliseum first opened.
I don't like that question.
I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Hey, it's according to Poppy O'Neill's calendar, so
he's looking it up right now. Cousin Ed is looking it up as we speak. He does
February 8th, 1997. The first hat trick scored by a Rangers player.
It is a fact. All right, Mikey. All right, good question. I definitely looked
Cousin Ed doesn't like any questions he doesn't get right.
Yeah, exactly. Challenge.
Hey, listen, I have an inquisitive mind, so I like to verify things. All right, boys, I'm looking forward to next week. It's going to be fun to go to the Garden. Rangers got a couple games this week. Pittsburgh tomorrow night, Friday against Philly, and then Saturday Boston. So some tough games against some Eastern Conference opponents. So let's see how it turns out. Hopefully we can regroup and win. Sorry, not we. I know Little Ed hates that. Hopefully the Rangers can regroup and win tomorrow night and go into the Boston game with a couple wins against the Penguins and Flyers.
We're media now, so we're allowed to say it.
That's right. We also have some interesting guests lined up. I know we've been saying that, but Little Ed's been hard at work, and we have an interview lined up for mid-December, and a couple others that aren't set yet, but are going to get set. And I think you guys are going to love them. So look out for those interviews.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not going to say any names, but you guys will be very pleased and very exciting stuff. So stay tuned.
For sure. Thank you to our sponsors again, Oscar, Suter Sweet Treats, Bella Italia. I know we didn't mention you today, but if you guys need any granite, you got to call Bella Italia, and then Sorrento's.
Yep, Sorrento's Pizza.
Check out Sorrento's for sure. And am I forgetting one? Oh no, I said Lucarelli.
No,
we gotta bring
you. Well, we have our tattoo appointment next week, so this will be the last time you see my blank forearm. Gonna get a little Rangers themed tattoo. I'll keep it a little bit of surprise. We'll premiere that next week or the week after or something. But yeah, if you're getting a new tattoo, or if you have existing tattoos, head on over to Mad Rabbit and grab some tattoo aid and use promo code EDPOD for 20% off, I believe.
Yeah, it's awesome. Check it out. But all right, boys, 2 hours. Good episode. I know it's a little long. Fans, thanks for sticking with us. We had a lot to cover. A lot of banter in this episode. But
yeah,
we'll have to figure out a plan for next week because maybe it's going to be tough. We're, Monday. So we'll update you guys on when we're dropping next week. But until then, let's go Rangers.
Let's go Rangers. Love you guys.
Go Rangers. Love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.